I want to figure out if I'm faster than a real life racing driver. So in today's video, that is what I'm going to try. I have picked 3 different cars at 3 different speeds to see if I'm able to beat any of the real life racing drivers. And make sure to stick to the end of the video where we will try and beat the all-time track record. I have chosen a track that I've been to in real life, so I know how it goes. Before we start, I have my brother with me to try and help me. The first car that is up is the Legends car. This is one of the most fun and exciting cars. They sound great in real life. The time to beat here is a 1 minute 18 seconds point 2. So let's get out there on the first lap. Okay, heading out of the pit for the first time. Let's see which kind of lap times we can get. This is me coming around the last corner for the first time, about to set my first time lap. Having a big old slide, this car is super slidey, which also is a part of the reason it is so fun to drive. Now, barreling down towards turn 1, let's see how much time I'm going to get for the first time lap. Now I'm just taking you around the track just so you can get a kind of idea of the layout of the track. Coming down to turn 3 here, there's a little kick before it, and then it goes into the infield section. And I have a big slide out the exit of this turn. The first lap is kind of just getting to know the car and getting to know the limitations of it and how it reacts on the track. Now going into the final section, we have this fast left hand corner, then it carries over to this wide and long fast speed left hand corner. This is some of the most technical parts of the track, and the car usually gets very sideways here into this very sharp left hand turn, and then you're coming up to the penultimate and the last corner. On the inside here you have to be careful. You can take a lot of curb, but there is a tire wall right there on the inside. Now up to the banked last corner. This is also a skill to get perfect. How much speed can you carry, how much can you not? As you can see, I actually go out and tap the wall, but let's see what my first time lap is going to be. It's going to be a 1:21.5. Now this really showcases how lively this car is. As you see, the rear end slides out and I drift through the turn. Coming up here, I also actually crash out again because the rear end just steps out of me. So it really is just about learning the car, finding the limits of it. Now let's see, we are on another time lap, and what is this lap going to be? It's going to be a 1:24, so I cut off a second from my previous lap. Again, coming around on another time lap, again an improvement of around a second, so I'm really cutting down some time here as I have a big log up into turn 1. But yeah, really finding some time around these laps. This is again me sliding through the same turn. This time I wasn't able to save it and I go off in the grass. So in to make some setup changes. Hopefully this can improve my lap times. As you can see, I just speed through it, not really knowing what I'm doing, but we go out of the pits again trying to improve my time, see if I can beat the real life racing driver. And here is my brother improving his time, also getting even closer to the real life racing driver. This is again me coming around on another time lap, see if I can close the gap to my brother. And I do. Big slide there coming up to the last corner. Let's see if I can improve my time once again. Crossing the finish line, the time is going to be a 1:19 flat. As you can see, my brother has also improved his time to 18.5, so he's really closing in on the 18.2. There again he improves to an 18.4, so we are really closing in on the time. Again, me setting an even faster time, also closing the gap to my brother and the real life racing driver. I can taste the difference between us and the real life racing driver. We are so close to being able to beat them. I really have to fight the car, it really doesn't want to work with me.
Holy shit.
There you have it, my brother actually beat the real life racing driver, so it is possible. I was really struggling with the car, but my brother was using a default setup, so I thought I would switch to that as well. And it's time for me to give it a try, see if I can beat the real life racing driver. I know it is possible, my brother has just done it, so let's go around the final lap and see if I can do it as well. And the lap begins. This lap is about finding every inch of the track, pushing the car to its limits, sliding on these tires and the rear end that just wants to step out. taking all of the curb possible, braking as late as possible, even having a little bit of a lug up there, but pushing as much as possible. I really want to beat this time and beat the real life racing driver. I know it is possible. Now I've given it everything this lap. Let's see if it's possible for me to beat the real life racing driver in the Legends car as well. We're coming up to the line and the time is going to be... Yes! It's a 1:18.125. This beats the real life racing driver, so I guess this proves that the sim racer is faster in this case. The second car is the TCR touring car. Now this is a very different car. It has a way bigger engine, it is front wheel drive, and it is way faster than the Legends car. In real life, the car to beat is a Honda Civic model, but for today I have chosen the Cupra edition. The time to beat is a 1 minute 9.9. Okay, we are out on the warm-up lap now and it's about to cross the finish line to start the first time lap. This car looks so clean, as I have a huge lug up into turn 1 right there. My brother gets a 12.1 and my first lap is a 13.0, so we're a little bit off what the real life racing driver gets as I slide out into this turn, losing all control of the car. But we go again around for another time lap. Let's see which kind of time we can get. This time it is a 12.666, so an alright lap, but still a little bit off what we need to get. As you can see, we're pushing the entirety of the track, maybe a little bit outside the track limits. You can see my brother here gets an 11.8, so we are definitely closing in on what the time needs to be the real life racing driver. This car sounds so amazing with its pops and bangs, and it is so fun to drive. Also a new kind of challenge as it is front wheel drive compared to the last Legend car, which like to slide a lot. This has a lot more understeer. Now coming out on another time lap, it is going to be an 11.7. So I am now the fastest out of me and my brother, but not for long. He sets an 11.2. So we are about 1 point something seconds off what the time needs to be. Coming out of the last turn, I push all the way up on the curb, up close to the wall. You gotta get the maximum out of the last turn to set an 11.1. So again, now I'm the fastest car on the track. As you can see, we are battling out both with the times and on track, trying to set the fastest lap. Even though we are working together to try and beat the real life racing driver. My lead, however, didn't last for long as he sets a 1:10. We are now under a second, or my brother is under a second of what the real life racing driver set as a time. This is my brother improving by 2/100ths of a second, so there are small margins to improve if you don't overdrive the car like I just did there. Now this is a great showcase of the infield section of this track. It is very tight and narrow, coming around this corner almost a complete hairpin, turning into an uphill turn with the apex on the top of the corner, coming down to this very fast sweeping left corner. As you can see, I just get out on the curb and the car starts sliding. This goes to show how difficult this car was to drive, and we couldn't really get close to the real life racing driver. This was the best time we were able to set at 10.7, so a bit off the real life racing driver. The third car is the Lamborghini Hurricane. This car is also the track record holder. This is most definitely the fastest of the three, and boy is it a handful to drive. It has way more power and it can take some of the corners so much faster. I would almost say that this car is too fast for this track. Now, the track record to beat is a 1 minute 4 seconds 0.6. So, stick around and see if we can do that. This is me coming around on my first time lap. Let's see what it is going to be. It's a 1 minute and 8 seconds, so the fastest I've driven today, but not close to the track record. I'm about 4 seconds off. This is me coming around the penultimate corner and the last corner here, the bank corner. This is such a difficult corner to get completely right, but it looks alright this time. Let's see what kind of time it's going to be. A 179, so a small improvement, but not nearly enough compared to what I need to be doing. This is my brother's answer. It is a 177. Let's see if I can beat this on this time around. It's going to be a 176, not nearly fast enough, but the fastest lap on track so far. I really need to focus in, push this car to its limit, not overdrive it, and see if I can beat this track record. This would be so cool. Coming up to the finish line again, this time around it's going to be a 166, so this time we're actually a lot closer, improving by a lot as I slide into the first corner there. Now, time to do a few setup changes. Hopefully this can improve my time even more, even though I only sort of half know what I'm doing when I'm doing these setup changes. Now out of the pits, this is the warm-up lap and I decide to do this. I guess I'll blame that on the cold tires and not of my lack of knowledge from driving. This is my brother closing in on my lap here. He's only 1/10 off now. We are really pushing everything we can. We gotta beat this record. Now I thought I would take you through a walkthrough of this track. There was turn 1 and turn 2, 90-degree turns. Then we have this little kink to the right before breaking into the infield section here that goes uphill here, and then another right turn. This one is sharper than it looks, so you have to slow down a lot for this one. Accelerate and brake hard again as this turn is very narrow. This uphill turn here, blind exit, but you have to just put the foot down, get the speed there. Brake late for this one. This is a fast corner, take a lot of curb. A wide exit, really get out on the curb here so you have as much speed for this long and fast corner, not too fast though, and brake for this very slow left-hander here. You can use all the curb here. In the game there's a little ditch, but real life use all the curb. Here you have to be careful on the inside, but use a lot of curb. This is the last corner, it is banked. You really have to time when you get on the throttle and then just throttle up to the finish line. Now that is a complete lap of this track and it's actually my best lap so far. Now however, it's time to get serious. This is the fastest lap I did in this session. I gave it everything I had. I pushed to the limits of the track and the limits to the car. I gave it everything. I focused in to beat this track record. This is to prove if me, a sim racer, can beat a real life racing driver. So sit back and enjoy this lap where I give it everything that I have. In the end I was about 1.9 seconds off the track record, so I guess there's a reason the real life racing driver is the real life racing driver and I am the sim racer. They are really fast. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do something like this again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.